Well. So I made a video yesterday, and I'm going to take a break from DMT. Well, so much for that. Because, see, today's been a busy day for me. I got a lot of catch up and stuff to do for my school. I got big final exam this Thursday. Got a project, an essay, and today typically would have been a class day, but because of just this mountain of material we need to focus on, my professor, he just had a Zoom line open, and you could ask him questions and all that, and I found myself really struggling as to where to start. I found myself after conversing with the fan channel guy about how DMT can really take you off guard, and it can just kind of slap you silly, and it's always when you least expect it. And so I was like, you know what, I gotta find out for sure what's going on here. And so what did I do? Weighed out 25 milligrams of this very strong stuff that you really need only 20 to break through with. Pipe already had about 20 milligrams of residue in it, or probably more than that. I took a big old hoot, and I guess since I hadn't done it in a while, I was on the threshold of breakthrough, but not quite breakthrough, and still very cool visuals, and I remember just having that sort of routine. Okay, this is what I need to do to get myself started. When I'm coming out, I'll play some guitar to get myself in the zone, and until I come down, and then I'll work on this project for a bit, that project for a bit, find out which questions I need to ask my professor, as I'm watching all this crazy symmetry unfold in front of me, and so it was it was nothing remarkable, but I kind of found it was what I needed to sort of get my mind on point and catalyze me forward into making some conclusive decisions. And so yeah, that's what I did. And then I was like, well, what about this? I haven't done this stuff in a while, so I'm probably off on my one hit method. I'm not doing it properly. And so I did it again, and same thing, 25 milligrams, all this residue in the pipe, and probably got about 3/4 of it, so pretty good breakthrough. And I could tell that it was a strong one, because people talk about the tunnel and all that. I don't really get that very much. My tunnel is different than that. I'll get tunnels within the trip, kind of, but not sort of opening up. But I always will flip my eye shades on first, so, or just have my eyes closed, so it may be that I'm just not seeing the open eye equivalent of it. But when I have opened my eyes, I've seen different things in tunnels. But in any case, I saw what oftentimes is an indicator that I'm in for a hell of a ride through hyperspace. And it was a bunch of glitchy, kind of almost tropical, not flowers, but palm leaves, and with very, very jagged, sort of quivering edges, and flowers, and flamingo-looking things, all kind of folding back, they're folding forward and then folding back, and then boom, I'm in hyperspace. And I can't remember really much of what the entity looked like. I mean, it's impossible to really describe what they look like anyways. I mean, I have, but they vary. And since, get the real classical archetypal stuff, because I try to stay away from listening to other people's experiences. Like, the entities I see are typically, like, they're just not something that, you know, most humans would be like, oh, that looks like, you know, a circus being or something. Like, you know, though I was in hyperspace, and by hyperspace I mean like a giant white tunnel, and there was this kind of entity with many limbs. I could feel it was a she. It didn't have female traits. I could really tell physically, but it just like that hyperbolic geometry. And I remember like having like a full-on discourse, and like feeling like she was actually like, oh, I see. So this is like going to parts of my body where I experience pain, and I was like, you know, why am I not getting, you know, the full majesty of these experiences? I am now, but I mean, like, what was up with that? You know, why am I experiencing, you know, like enhanced depression and pain and stuff like that? And you know, I'm taking psychedelics less and less and less, and it's like, oh well, it's because, you know, you were in a situation that was very stable on a monetary level, on a, you know, social level, and then it kind of fell off, and you fell into a lot of ketamine and, you know, benzo use, and you were essentially numbing yourself to the reality of your situation. And I was like, you know, something I said this in a way that, you know, otherwise I wouldn't have said this in a DMT trip, because it's a way to get slapped silly, I find, for the entities to be like, you're stubborn, we're going to show you, you know, another way. We're going to show you how stubborn you are. Fucking hold on, yoink, you know, kind of thing. But no, I've never experienced this like profound like willingness, understanding, and empathy from an entity. And like I just got I was like, you know, I'm doing this because of all this pain, and you know, this pain that you know, it correlates to my anxiety and my depression and everything. And she was like, like this pain like goes to like where some of the pain is, and like not like making it happen, but like this area, right, this area. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, no, I get why you escape through these things. And I was like, and like ketamine and benzo specifically, because, you know, they are more of an escape than psychedelics. Psychedelics are, I think if you try to use them as an escape, you're in for a bad time. I mean, I've tried doing that before, and I've had bad times. But like, she was like very understanding, and like, okay, and this and that, and like we had just this dialogue that kept going, as you know, just phew, and then I remember there was like a tremendous shift, and I started coming out of her hyperspace, and you know, typically I find like I'll personally see mirror images of the different, you know, entities in their hyperspaces, and I was coming out of it, and I was seeing the you know, the Fabergé egg like DMT cities, and usually like I'll kind of like go into them, or I'll sort of hover outside of them, and I'll see stuff spinning around them. I'll see parallel versions of them kind of stacked up beside each other, but they're huge. I find I have to be like way back away from them to see that effect of them all kind of like these giant gleaming Fabergé eggs, like not like Terrence McKenna says, where it's like, you know, these machine owls that are self-dribbling basketballs. These don't feel like entities. They feel like giant cityscapes or something, but they look like a giant jeweled egg. anyways, sometimes I've entered inside and I've seen like, you know, upside down golden towers and stuff like that, but this time I was just kind of hanging outside and seeing, you know, stuff like you know, the term interdimensional way station goes a long way, I think, here with describing it, because just seeing stuff flying around. And like, since I'm not, as I said, someone who sees these, like, you know, entities that are considered characteristic of DMT, I see very weird entities that are like, you know, have yet to be kind of described from what I've encountered. Like, you know, I see a lot of these things that are like, they're like guys in suits with big, almost like sombrero like hats, but they're not sombreros. They look like fedoras or bowlers, but they're like comically big, and they have like either no head or an invisible head, or such a small head that like you can't see it, you only see their hats. And they're kind of like, so they're cycling around. There'll be one and another and another and another, and they're kind of doing like this a lot of the time, almost like they're swimming or dog paddling. And like, I remember once seeing like this crazy entity that was like, it looked like it had a giraffe neck, but it was a palm tree, and then it was walking, and its arms were palm tree like things, and its legs were palm tree like things. But here's the thing, the instead of palm leaves, it was like, you know, spaghetti squash kind of like, or hay, like yellow strands, and like it was dressed like almost like a night crawling hooker or whatever. And then a couple more of them came. Like, that wasn't this trip, but you know, I'm just trying to tell you like how bizarre the entities I see really are. Like, they wouldn't be something I'd even register as an entity if I didn't have communications with them. But I remember I also like in this trip towards the end, when I was like, you know, by that tryptamine palace, is what I call those things, those cityscapes. I looked to my right, and because I was, you know, coming out of it a little bit, starting to come out of it, or, you know, maybe I just like, you know, astral body looked to the right. I don't fucking know, because there's a lot going on, and just I got this immense like intuitive feeling like, you're not supposed to look over here and see this. And I was like, okay. And then I got this weird feeling like, wait, did I just do like, you know, the same thing that like all those people did that allowed people like Harvey Weinstein to get away? Did I just avert my eyes from like a crime or something that was taking place in the DMT realm? And I was like, wait a second, I'm on a drug right now. I shouldn't take this too seriously. And then, you know, like, reached out, and I was like, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting anyone, but love, and just like hugged everything, and I could feel just the substance of it, like this warm kind of goo, and it was so beautiful. And I came out of it and I played some guitar, just to be like, thank you, I want to show you this, I want to, you know, dedicate this song to you, because, like, you know, it was interesting. This was definitely, as I said, like, DMT tends to seem to go by a lot faster than 10 minutes for me most of the time, but this felt like it was like a good like 20-30 minutes, but not in a bad way. Like, I was like, you know, just having like all these aha moments with this incredibly like gentle feeling, caring entity that I was encountering at the beginning in hyperspace. And usually hyperspace is like, that's the part that's like so intense. It's like you're trying just to grab, like, holy hell, how is that possible? How is that possible? And then this feeling of like, for me, like being in like a wind tunnel or something. But like, no, I felt like so grounded and like I mean, I felt just kind of suspended in air, and like, yeah, there's still all the crazy acrobatic stuff in front of my face, but also going, and I could feel him kind of grabbing, like, areas where I hurt, and like not hard, just kind of like, look right here, right? Let's see what we can do about that. And it wasn't like the DMT surgeon or anything where, you know, I've heard people describe that the DMT brain surgeon, like I experienced something kind of similar, I think, where they were like, here, we're going to release these traumas from your head. It's going to be, you feel a little something right here. And these were like my most trusted entities that I encountered, so I was like, okay, sure, let's do it. As far as I'm concerned, this is a, you know, psychological exercise. And like, you know, it just felt like someone going like that for like 5 seconds. It wasn't at all like invasive. I've heard of people like full on like drills going through their head and like, you know, unpleasant shit. This was nothing like that. It was just it was a wonderful communion. And now I'm kind of conflicted because it's like, well, do I do DMT again and like get that wonderful feeling again, or do I just, you know, kind of space it out and try to preserve those profound and like just unparalleled experiences. I think the latter is probably the answer, especially because yeah, I mean, like just vaping that stuff, like it's really hard on my lungs. Like I find my scar tissue in my right lung is like a lot more sensitive than it used to be since I got the whole toxoplasmosis. You know, that's part of why I quit smoking. I mean, even vaping is hard on my lungs. It's, I mean, nothing's hard on my lungs like fucking DMT is. I'm sure meth would be worse, but I mean, it's been a long time since I've done fucking meth. That stuff is fucking, like, even when I was a junkie, I didn't want to do it. I just, like, if other people were doing it and they offered me something, I'd be like, sure. We're gonna stay up all night and talk and then tweak in the morning, sure. That's because I was young and I was stupid. I'm sure that's a lot harder on your lungs, but I mean, DMT, out of everything I smoke, it's probably about the harshest fucking thing on my lungs. I mean, that also could be part and parcel with my one-hit method of getting it all in one fucking hit. Maybe I should space it out to 2 hits or 3 hits. But I don't like that. I don't like that ratcheting up of intensity. That boom, boom. Like I get, like, I'll start getting like cold feet. Like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? But I mean, that was also the person who said that was me like a year ago before I really got into DMT and was like scared shitless of it, because my first breakthrough wasn't, I mean, I don't think it was totally awful, but it was just, I blacked out for most of it, and I just remembered like deflating into my bed and like forgetting I had taken a drug and being like, am I dreaming? Am I dying? What the fuck's going on? Am I dreaming? Am I dying? What the fuck's going on? Like, but it wasn't bad. But it scared me for a while, and I was like, yeah, I just don't like DMT. I'm not doing DMT again. And then I did, and I accidentally did twice as much breakthrough in one hit, and holy Moses, was that, that really grabbed me by the soul and shook me around a bunch. But it was like, wow, that was the most interesting 15 minutes of my life. It was terrifying, but so fascinating. Now that I'm more seasoned, it doesn't scare me as much. But I mean, I still do get anxious. I still am like, what is going to happen? I don't know. I have no control over what will happen until I get, you know, on a mutual level of respect with whatever entity type things I encounter. I mean, but, you know, knowing that these are personifications of my own mind, mental state, you know, my psyche, does help me to have a bit more of a sense of control. But also, I am open-minded. I mean, I could be opening a portal to, you know, the collective unconscious or whatever. I mean, like, I'm open-minded in that regard. But I mean, I just feel like if that were the case, I would see more, you know, jesters and like machine elves and like little gnomes or cats or whatever, you know, people regard as the standard stuff to see. You know, and the only time I've really seen that stuff is like the first few times I kind of did it, and it was like just right after listening to like Joe Rogan or something like that. So, you know, it's an experience that I'd like to kind of keep ambiguous, but it's like simultaneously frustrating because it's very hard to put the entities into words, like you know, because they don't take on any like traditional form of, you know, the will-o'-the-wisp type creatures. I mean, I did see a neon leprechaun once doing like spinning around kind of conveyor belt that looked like one of those like treadmill running machines, and you just spin around and do flips on it, and like, you know, I've seen sprite-like creatures, but usually the entities to me are like a mishmash of different stuff, and just like too bizarre to like describe sometimes, even let alone remember. Like the one I'm telling you about, I just remember, you know, kind of the flailing limbs and the distinctly feminine presence and the distinctly feminine sentiments that, you know, like again, I always say this, but when you hear things from entities on DMT, you're not having a direct discussion. I mean, maybe some people, that's how it is. Maybe they hear words, but it's more like, you know, whatever the flailing around they're doing, or, you know, I've seen entities like full on puking out like what looks like some sort of advanced language, and it's immediately like my brain knows what it's saying. And I just felt like this caring, well-mannered, calm sort of like nurse or something was interacting with me, and like genuinely cared about trying to get to the bottom of, you know, all these issues that, you know, were just sowing seeds for more issues, like, you know, my bladder getting all fucked up from ketamine, which is, by the way, better now. I've done, you know, especially compared to what I was doing for like the last 2 months, you know, very, very little ketamine, like 1 or 2 days out of the week, and my bladder is, you know, almost back to being like completely functional, but, you know, I did hear loud and clear that message of, yes, you are using this to dissociate and to escape from your problems, so not a good thing. You should find other ways of dealing with that. I know it's terrible, I know it's agonizing, but, you know, you're just setting off a chain of self-perpetuating issues if you do this. It's kind of the gist I was getting. Same thing saying about benzos. I mean, even more so about benzos, because benzos are like, you know, insanely addictive, and they make you feel normal. Or, I mean, for me anyways, they make me feel normal there, and they make me feel like the closest to normal. But then I kind of act almost like I'm drunk. And it's just, yeah, I mean, I think they've got purpose, but when used in like extreme moderation and extremely carefully. But I mean, just for my own well-being, I'm staying the fuck away from them for a while. I'm gonna certainly try anyways. But yeah, that being said, you know, so much for taking a break, right? If I go back in and I see anything interesting, I'll let you guys know. But my lung's kind of hurting right now, and I'm probably going to be doing Phoenix series tonight, and I don't like to mix anything close to an edible with a psychedelic. I remember once doing DMT a whole bunch and not breaking through, and then taking 100 milligram edible towards the end, and it was like a very strong mushroom trip for like 4 to 6 hours. It was pretty cool though, because like I actually had the most vivid tactile hallucination I've ever had. There was like, looked like this goo on the wall, like almost like a carbonated goo, like that. It's transparent, like a jelly going like that. And I put my hand through it like that, and it went, and it was like dripping off my fingers back into the wall, or back into this massive jelly on the wall, and it felt like warm caramel. That was pretty cool, but like I could only imagine like being on 100 milligram edible while like breaking through, like fucking. I would probably just black out. I'd probably just black out. I mean, I'm someone who's like pretty sensitive to edibles. I mean, that being said, I mean, when I do Phoenix tears, like I'm doing probably at least 40 milligrams of THC at a time, and that's like chilling. I could probably do more if I wanted to, but I mean, I'll just put it this way, like I was kind of scared off of edibles after, you know, doing some very strong acid, waiting 20 hours, doing the edible. Being stoned is totally fine, like a 100 milligram edible usually is, for about an hour, and then shit got weird. And I had some of the weirdest, most lifelike, but psychedelic in nature hallucinations I've ever had, and it was so unsettling to me that my brain just went, nope, fuck this, and like just, you know, like did a manual fucking shutdown, just like, nope, we're going to sleep, fuck this. So, you know, I'm very careful about mixing the two now, and you know, when working at stands and stuff and people buy, you know, a little bit of both, I'm always like, don't fucking mix the two unless you are, you know, someone who has done this before and you enjoy that. Because some people enjoy Scooby snacks, some people enjoy mixing edible pot and fucking mushrooms. If that's your bag, fucking great. But if you haven't done it, I would suggest, if you really, really have to start very slow on the edible side, especially. Because just cannabis alone potentiates psychedelics quite a bit. Like, you know, I find now that, like, ever since I've done a lot of psychedelics, pot itself, even just like that little joint I smoked, it's making me trip like a tiny bit. Like, pot becomes like hallucinogenic after you've done enough hallucinogens. And I'm saying that very like you know, de facto, because I've had so many people confirm this exact sentiment to me. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining. And I know that like pot is very hallucinogenic when you take it in edible form. Or, well, not very, but like compared to smoking, it's fairly hallucinogenic. At least in the high, like when I was doing edibles, I would do high doses, like 100 or more, for the most part. And like it was more so like closed eye visuals than anything. Kind of like ketamine, but like ketamine, the longer you close your eyes, the crazier it can get. But anyways, I've gone on for long enough. I just wanted to give you an update on the situation. So yeah, that break lasted less than fucking like 20 hours. I have no idea how long I'm gonna wait before the next blast off, but I mean, I don't necessarily, like, I feel so satisfied with my last trip that I have no desire to just jump back in willy-nilly. I mean, I feel like if I need similar guidance, I will. Or if I get the calling, which you know, the whole concept of the DMT calling, I don't know how legitimate that is or not. I mean, there are definitely times I feel like I want to do it more than others, and there are definitely times where I'm like, if I do this now, I think I'll benefit off of it, and I do it, and I benefit off of it, but that doesn't always happen, so that could just be selective sort of thinking. Suggestibility, as I've stressed many times, this is a very suggestible experience. As far as the calling goes, I mean, I'm agnostic on it, like I am on everything. I don't know whether DMT truly calls to you or not. I mean, I would, give me 2 seconds.
So I'm just going for a bike ride.
Okay, alright, sit. Sorry, guest appearance by my lovely mother. But yeah, as far as the calling goes, I think it's something that is just as feasibly a projection of our own onto it. And what to break that down a little bit more, if you didn't get it the first time around, it's something we want. So, consciously or otherwise, we are putting that out there because we want it to happen. So it's actually like, instead of receiving a signal saying, do me, smoke me, that's it's a little less risque, a little less Freudian slip. It's us putting out a signal going, I want to do DMT, and then that signal goes out, and we forget about it, and it comes back, and we go, it's calling to us, or it's calling to me. I don't know, it just seems like a likely explanation to me. But at the same time, I mean, when I go into a DMT trip, I treat it like it could be spiritual, it could be real entities, it could be a portal into another dimension. Like, I'm always like, with love and respect, I look forward to this communion with my trip to me family, because that's what I like to refer to it as, because I feel like I'm more prone to having an experience where I get that sense of sanctuary and being at home and being around things that like are supportive of you and want you to be supportive of them. And if these are manifestations of the psyche, that's a great way of getting a sort of mental equivalent of Maslow's hierarchy type thing going on in the experience, so you have some sense of stability and a sense of union with all these crazy fucking creatures. But at the same time, that's not why I do it. I do it because I don't know what I'm truly experiencing. I think I know what I'm experiencing, but I'm not 100% certain. And I just, with the gravity of such an experience, I believe it should be treated with respect, and it should be something that is not frittered. And what I mean by that is, you do it and then you just kind of forget about it. That's how you waste a trip, I think. That's part of why I'm making this video, so I can be like, okay, and also it's, DMT is something you experience so much, when you do enough, you experience so much within that 10 minutes that it's like a dream. You don't quite take back every little fragment. Maybe some people do, but my memory is not great, so I certainly don't. And just talking about it, I'm realizing parts of the dialogue I had with that entity that I wasn't considering before. And you know, I realized it's like it was like we talked for quite a while, like interesting. Like you know, I'm typically hyperspace when I get there. Like, and by hyperspace I mean that crazy like wind tunnel like thing with the entity in the middle going. But this hyperbolic geometry, like I find that lasts like a couple minutes, and then I will like ascend into you know, this interdimensional way station where all these fucking like different beings are flying around, and like go up to the Tryptamine Palace, which is those Fabergé egg things, and like sometimes I'll go up and through it, and then like up kind of through the ceiling, and then back into my body, or I'll just sort of float there. And you know, sometimes they don't want me in the Tryptamine Palace, it seems, because they'll just push me back. No, but I want to, like, I want to just try to push myself forward. No. But, yeah, I mean, it's such a bizarre experience. It can vary so much. Like my buddy, he did it, and he said that, like, and he's, you know, he's a great guy, and I'm going to make a video with him sometime soon, because he's just fucking, he's just like one of my favorite human beings, you know, and he's so much smarter than me. He said he had a DMT trip where the Japanese, like, went to the moon, like, in the near future, and, like, set up a moon base before any other country, and I was like, holy shit, I've never heard of anything quite like that from a DMT trip. Whoa, dude, like, I mean, I've gotten him to elaborate a little bit on that. He said he didn't quite break through, like he was like his vision was vibrating, so he was on the verge of a breakthrough, but when he closed his eyes, like, you know, he just saw like this future space race happening, and the Japanese doing more than any other nation. Technologically, and I think that's like, I mean, maybe it's just crazy to me because it varies so much from like me going into this weird realm where these cartoony creatures are flying about and like communicating things through the most unconventional of means, like just to have that almost like film like level of consistency is something I don't really experience. I don't really experience, you know, I experience dialogues that are consistent, and, you know, transfigurations from the entities that are consistent, but, you know, we're seeing, as I said, like the cityscapes that are fairly consistent, but then it'll start to transform into different stuff, but I've never seen something that's like a narrative like that, and so I thought that was very cool. And yeah, maybe if I do a video, or I guess I don't think it's a matter of if, I think it's more when I do a video with him. I'll see if I can get him to expand on that, because it's a cool story, I think anyways. But with that, I gotta go. Bye-bye.